All right. Well,
I can share the branches of Ignite and Kind with you.
yeah. All right.
Wow,
Just
that's really interesting. Yeah.
mentioning now, the recording is live, so this will go up to our YouTube channel. Today we have me and Jamwood on the call, along with Sunny, who's graciously joined us on his own time. And Sunny works for StorageOS and has been sharing something with us really cool that he did. Basically, Sunny had a use case where he wanted to be able to test different kernels and kernel modules with Kubernetes for StorageOS, needs. And he built a special version of Kind that creates Kind nodes with Ignite, which is super cool to me. We're working through this gist, which is publicly available. And I'll share my screen, I suppose. But we'll update the agenda here. So we'll talk about Kind plus Ignite, and then we'll talk about Raspberry support with Lucas. I was able to chat with Lucas a little bit, so we can talk about that. But yeah, basically there is this gist that Sunny's prepared, and the TLDR is that you have your normal Kind API. So there's no addition to the Kind API here to indicate that the backend is supposed to be Ignite. That's done with a flag on the command line right here. You can see that there was no VMs running. This is in a root context since we're not using sudo to operate Ignite, which means that Kind is also operating as root. And then the image is overridden here. So the node image needs to change because a normal Kind Docker image isn't going to have everything you need to manage TTYs and stuff like that. So just there's a few more requirements. I would be interested in this Docker file just to see how it was built. But those are small details. Then we pass the backend to be enabled. That's going to feature flag inside of the code in Sunny's branch for Kind. Pass the config, does the normal Kind stuff. And then amazingly, you end up with 3 VMs. So what version of Ignite are you using here, Sunny?
The latest one.
The latest. So this is current, yeah. And then you're using.
Right. And I made some changes here.
And then you said this worked with the default Ignite kernel. But then the coolest thing here is you are now able to start playing with your own kernels,
right.
Load modules and things like that. Very cool use case for testing like kernel drift for storage behavior and that kind of thing. And then here you were SSHing in and then using the admin config on the control plane node to access it. Now I imagine that the normal Kind interface for copying out the kube config probably would not work. You'd probably have to modify because it's going to
It will work because of the Kinds interface. It will work, but I didn't implement it. I was trying to just create a proof of concept.
Yeah.
It will work.
You would have to just override that so that it doesn't use a Docker copy, right? Like it just does it over SSH instead. And then, yeah, that's super, super cool. You said you wanted to submit some patches. Were there fundamental changes to Ignite that you needed to make?
No, just some new features. Some are already there. Some were as PRs, but were not merged. So I took those and added into my branch. I sent you a link.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then you said it's, just double checking. Okay, to put this into the notes.
I found some issues in Ignite. Like if you create 2 machines, let's say first one's name is worker2, and then you create another machine worker, Ignite thinks the VM already exists. So there is a prefix matching issue in the name.
Okay.
I had to fix that. I'm not sure if that's the right fix, but but for my purpose, that's fixed.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, that's a bug, I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've run into this kind of issue as well with it's about the name matching or something that doing the like a first part of what is match, then
Right.
ignore the rest.
Right. And then I had to add like template the output, like the way Kind uses Docker is it'll expect some formatted output. So I added some templated outputs for a few of the commands for Ignite. VM, PS, where you list all the VMs. So the output, if it's in a formatted output, it's easier for Kind. So I added those. And an option to add labels, huh?
We merged it was filter, but not format. Okay. So yeah, because another contributor added a intricate VM filter. So you added new feature for output formatting for several commands.
For this, I just needed it for inspect and VMPS.
For VM list and PS?
VM list and inspect. VM inspect.
Yes.
And the third feature that I needed was setting labels when you create a VM, because those labels can be used by Kind to identify which VM is for what purpose, like worker or control plane.
So this is for the sandbox runtime container, right? We've been wanting to do that actually. So you're setting, that's OCI labels, I guess?
Oh yes, it's OCI label. Yeah.
On the sandbox runtime container, and then basically the annotation here is that Kind can use these labels to ID the VMs, right?
Right.
Yeah, that makes sense, and I think that so this was needed for that. I'm gonna speculate as well. That this is useful for Multus CNI and other CNI needs. If you're following me there. I think the labels are used on the container because the CNI can inspect the container object, so the orchestrator or whatever can indicate, the client that's creating the container can indicate, I'd like to put the container on this network, or set a static IP address request or something like that. Multus 9. I'm just going to say Ignite stable IPIN. Some people have made some people have requested that they are able to have stable IP addresses for their virtual machines. And that's not something that CNI normally does. But I think there might be something there with labels. Very cool. So there's patches coming for
one more.
Yep. Yeah, what's up?
That's not by me. I found this patch where someone implemented a way to copy file into a running VM.
Okay.
So I just reused that patch into my branch.
And that was using SSH, right?
Yes, that was using SSH, not using Go's SSH library.
Shelling out to SSH or using SSH in Go?
Using SSH to copy some files. Using just the host SSH. It's not using Go's library.
Okay. Copy file into running shelling out to SSH. Okay. And so this was reused patch, and then this you wrote a fresh patch for, or the prefix matching bug, did you just fix that bug yourself?
Yes, I fixed that myself, yeah.
Okay, so everything else was your work here.
Right. And I had some issues with concurrency, like if you create multiple VMs at the same time, Kine will fail. So I had to add some retry in Kine. And so when it fails, it will wait. Or usually Kine creates Docker machines like concurrently. I had to write a synchronous version of that so that Ignite doesn't fail. And it works with that.
Yeah, we have a bug open for this. Obviously, that's not a great architecture to require serial creation of VMs. So the workaround was to implement a serial machine creator in kind. Yeah, that's unfortunate. We really need to pin down what kind is doing and where it's tracking state that breaks that. Because it's either an interaction with like device mapper or it's something I don't fully understand. And I would like to get more visibility on why that is. We do have an issue. I'm going to see if Google pulls it up. If I just do a intentional search here, this is going to be Ignite. Let's go to issues. So yeah, that's a good one to try and tackle. And I want to Sienna, it's going to be in startup time, parallel. I would have thought that would have been there. Chanwin, have you seen that issue? We have an issue logged for that, right?
Which one you're saying about?
Concurrent startup of VMs.
No, I haven't seen that one, but some user pop into the public channel and and he mentioned about this and I suggest him that if you want that to be running, I mean, there's no workaround at the moment inside Ignite, but if you want to get things done, just using a Footloose to help doing that for in the meantime. So yes.
If we can get Ignite working in a container, I'd be interested to see if that bug still occurs when it's fully namespaced. Because then it's in like some privileged subsystem. But if that problem fixes it, then that tells us, right, that something that's namespaced, such as a file system or a network resource, is being contended upon, and then we can find that bug and fix it, and it should make Ignite operate in parallel, which would be good. So I'm not finding the issue easily. I'm just going to create a new one. That's funny, I'm signed in. Just stop my share really quick. Here. 0739. Okay. Well, this is weird. Thank you. I can't find our Zoom window all of a sudden. It's like disappeared on me. This is really awkward. How do I share my screen again? What happened? You can all still hear me and even probably see me, right?
I can hear and see you.
This is really weird. I don't like. I can see the participants screen and I can see my mic, but and I'm like recording as well.
Maybe exit and join again.
Yeah, but then I'm host and the recording is gonna stop. Gosh, this is just silly. What in the world? Where is the Zoom? Oh, here it is. Okay, cool. Found it. It like moved screens on me. Okay. So then share. Okay. And then let's make an issue for this. Current startup. It fails for some interesting reason. And similar rerun stop VMs, ignite topping out, timed out waiting for condition. None of those things seem related. Can we reproduce this? Let's see. Okay. Ignite Ubuntu, and then we'll just do, I don't know, random. Something like that, and then make another window. The window. And then does this look pretty much correct, right? This is how we could make it fail. Is just do this. Oh, awkward. So then we would go this. Guess I'm not fast enough. Is that okay?
It doesn't happen all the time. It happens a lot, but not all the time.
It has to be like quite concurrent. That's actually really difficult to reproduce. The only other thing I can think of is something like, what is it? It's the shell script syntax for this. And then take this and paste. Okay, well, that's clearly broken now. So we've got invalid, yeah. And this happens in mounting. Okay, well, that's useful. Basically, I'll do something like this, and we can paste that in. Okay. When creating concurrent multiple VMs concurrently, there appears to be a race or contention, probably contention that causes panics, known about this for a while, but may have not ever created an issue. Users have been working around this by doing strictly serial creation of VMs when in their automation. I'll just say. And then this is difficult to reduce with large numbers of things. Okay, and then as far as labels, this is definitely a bug. It's kind of a runtime bug, and it's a perf one. This is definitely an urgent issue. So. And, do you want to be CC'd on this at all, Sunny?
Yeah.
Your GitHub handle is Darkowiz, or?
Yes, the same way.
Okay, so that is DARKOWIZZ.
LCZ. OWLCZ.
OWLIZZ, like that?
No, there's no I. There's no I.
Oh, okay. WLZ.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Darko WLZZ. Sweet. Excellent. Well, if we didn't have an issue for that, we have a pretty good one now. So thank you for that. And then we want to go back to Prometheus. Right. Cool. Okay. And then we just made Ignite issues 510. Cool.
There's one more requirement. So when you create a VM, there's no way to assign the host name of the VM.
Okay.
Docker lets you do that.
You're just basically going in and like with SSH and then running hostname.
Right now I'm doing that, yeah. You start a VM, SSH, and set a host name. And it works that way.
Sure, I don't kill my computer here.
So this feature I didn't implement in Ignite. I added this as part of Kind. When Kind creates a VM,
you just added a hack.
It goes inside.
Okay.
Goes in and sets.
But so what is the resulting host? I don't know if I recall that. So night run. Just make then SSH. I see. So here we just have the ID of the Ignite VM, I believe, right?
Right.
So that's and the filter is right there. I see. Okay, so you'd like to override this to not be the ID. Order for 9, and the host names are important for the Kubedium config, or what? Just it's
right.
important about
if the nodes have the same name, you won't see them in the kubectl get nodes list. You won't see that. They have to have unique host name.
They shouldn't be having the same name.
They need unique names.
No, yeah, those are the Ignite IDs, so they should be unique.
Let me check. I don't think I get IDs. I get something else.
Then that's something we should look into. Kind and Kate's require VMs.
Oh, when I log in, I get localhost, not the ID.
Ooh.
Is it a new feature?
No, it shouldn't be new.
No, it shouldn't be like that.
That's probably something in your node image. Either way.
Oh, possible. It could be possible because of the image I'm using, right?
There is something causing machines to have localhost as a host name, which is a really bizarre.
Yes,
so yeah.
Wait, I'm using Ignite Ubuntu kind of base image.
Yeah.
I'm not using my image.
We should figure out what that is. I'm not going to definitively pretend that I know. Yeah. Well, I do have to step away soon. Unfortunately, I have to take my dog to the vet. But you and Chan can keep talking after this. I'm just going to move on. Thanks so much for providing all of this detail. We should chase this down. And I'm happy to work with you and Chan to get some of these things fully ironed out upstream. The only other news that I have to share is that I chatted with Lucas and did a sync. He's working on a school project that has some incentives to be contributing to Ignite. He wants to be setting up a Raspberry Pi stack with basically as an educational tool for people working in bare metal data centers. So, network boot and storage and all that. And uh, power supplies, and etc. And one of the things that he wants to accomplish is for Ignite to be fully working end to end on a Raspberry Pi. I think that's either going to be ARMv8 or ARM64. I don't recall the full details. He has some messaging to do with the Firecracker team, some of his expectations as to why things are not working. He doesn't understand completely yet. We can expect some patches upstream to support that and an accompanying release. That doesn't have to be our next release. We can release before. But of course, we just want to get that in, since Ignite on a Raspberry Pi would be very cool. And yeah, hopefully that's patches incoming. Probably our next release. And yeah, we do have a lot of things that are already piling up on master that we should release. So that's I think that's going to be like a 2-week time frame, something like that. And maybe we'll get some of the rest of these fixes in as well. So, Chamit, did you have anything to add or any questions about Lucas's and I's update?
No, I'm good. It's making sense. Yeah.
And Sunny, of course, you as well. Yeah.
I was debugging a issue, some issue 402. Someone is unable to import an image, hello world image. And after debugging, I found some results, like why is it failing? I have posted. And if you can tell me what should we do, I can submit a PR fixing that.
You said you started debugging, or you need a pointer?
I did. I debugged. The issue was you create a file system, but if the imported image is really small, the file that you create, block file, is really small. So you cannot create a file system in that, and it fails. So I thought the solution would be to have a minimum size for the file system, like maybe 1 MB at least. If the imported image is less than 1 MB, use the minimum size. But after that, I saw some other issue related to networking. I have posted what I found. Some PNP file was missing, Symlink was failing. I don't know much about that.
Feel free to, are you part of the Ignite dev mailing list, Sunny?
If you are, I joined today. I joined it.
Okay, yeah. You have edit access to these notes as well. And especially if you post that you updated them, I will make sure to read them.
Okay.
And you can link things here for other folks. Like I know every now and then Darren Shepherd will come in here and read things to get updated.
Okay.
So yeah, I have received feedback from several people over the past couple months that these notes are helpful for people if you want to update them. But so there was some PNP file plug and play, right? Or yeah.
I observed that this happens when you create an image from scratch. For some reason, I was able to reproduce the Alpine images.
This is a network issue that's related to Node image userland, right? It's basically, it sounds like this is based on what's happening inside of the VM. Okay. Is this a new issue?
It's an old issue.
Old issue. Okay.
September 5th.
Do you know what the issue number is?
402. So it's part of the 402 issue.
Oh, okay.
So first failure is creating the file system. After that, it tries to create symlinks and it fails. You did a PNP symlink.
Okay, that's different. That's because the VM you're creating doesn't support being started as a VM, basically.
But that was just the image import process. I didn't try to create a view. While importing, it fails, right?
This is a network issue, or a image import?
No, it's a image import.
Oh, okay.
It downloads the tar file and it tries to copy the tar file into a file system, I guess, and then it creates some symlinks and it fails there. I have described it in details in the issue.
Yeah. Thank you.
I was curious, like, why is this not working?
Yeah.
Looks really simple.
It's a very suspicious little bug, right? You're like, wait a minute, that shouldn't be broken. There's something seriously wrong if that's broken. So thank you for digging into that. That's like something that's been bugging me personally. Luckily, it's like an edge case that's not that important. I'd be very impressed if somebody could build a node image that would actually start a VM running Linux that could be useful. I guess if you were just kind of taking a very micro VM approach and you didn't even want systemd or something, you could probably build an image that small that would be useful. So that would almost be an interesting thing to demo, right? Like the minimum rootfs needed to do something like somewhat useful with Ignite. It reminds me almost of like a unikernel type use case where you don't even have SSH on the machine and that kind of thing. And it has like the minimum user land needed to like do log forwarding or something. So very cool. Okay. Well, I'm not going to end the call, but if you folks both want to keep talking, this will probably end the recording when I leave. I'm going to take my dog to the vet. So, yeah.
Okay.
All right. Well,
yeah.
Thanks so much. I'm very excited to work with you more, Sunny. Thanks so much for joining on your own time. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Yep.
Okay. Stop sharing.
Okay.